again, we are going through America's AI action plan and reacting to it live. So, just to recap a few things: national security imperative for the US to win the AI race. Um, we've gone through the introduction and kind of talked a little bit about what they're expecting, which is wild. Uh, AI will enable an industrial revolution, an information revolution, and a renaissance all at once, which is crazy. But we have to win. Um, yeah, this one is a little interesting, and there's actually more facts about this later on that we should dive into. And yeah, of course, making sure that people benefit is always great. Fighting ideological bias will be interesting. Um, so let's dive in. The first pillar that we're going through right now is pillar one: accelerating AI innovation. Here's what we've covered about how the current office wants to implement that. So they've undone a few executive orders, but the first priority is to remove red tape and onerous regulations. And this is really the most interesting one: is that the Office of Management and Budget is actually going to not penalize people with a lot of regulation, but they will prioritize funding to states that don't have AI regulation. um, ensure frontier AI, free speech. They want to encourage open source and open weight models. And this is crazy because after this happened, literally the next week, OpenAI released their own open weight AI model for anyone to use, which is pretty incredible. That this piece of paper, by reading this piece of paper, you can basically watch the world unfold in the exact way that's prescribed in here. And I'll go ahead and show that real quick. So here it is, GPT OSS. So in response to this guidance from the White House, OpenAI released their first open weight reasoning models, which means that anyone now has access and can utilize a OpenAI model on an Apache 2.0 license. Right, and that's huge because that is the government saying what the priority is, and then we watch corporations respond to accommodate. And it's pretty great and pretty incredible to know that the White House is prioritizing the things that will help Americans, the things that will further AI adoption and help prioritize it within our nation. Humanity's last exam. Cool. So it shows the benchmarks on all of this. That's pretty interesting. This would be a fun project. Maybe I'll give it a try. Okay, so the next way that the White House is going to accelerate AI adoption, sorry. The next way that the White House is going to accelerate AI innovation is by enabling adoption. Let's see what that looks like. Hmm. So they're saying the bottleneck is not from AI's capability, but rather from slow moving large organizations. I could see that. I mean, I think I exist in one of those. And it's been incredible to see how quickly we've been moving, but still there is a lot of barriers between release and implementation. Ooh, a coordinated federal effort would be beneficial in establishing a dynamic try first culture for AI across American industry. Oh man, it'll be interesting. I mean, because you think about these are critical sectors like healthcare, and they want to try it and figure out what's wrong. That's a heck of a place to be trying things, is with like PHI. But it could be life changing. So here's what they recommend to implement that. Ooh, they want to create AI centers of excellence around the country for people to use for testing and research. And of course, NIST would be helping with that. Okay, they want to implement domain specific efforts in slow moving domains like healthcare, energy, and agriculture, and monitor how much AI improves their output. Okay, cool. Okay, cool. So the DoD is given guidance to update their assessment standards, um, and establish a continuous adaptation of AI adoption. So this is kind of what the chief information officer of the DoD has already said. Let me pull that up. Okay, so things like this. DoD just flipped the script on ATOs, which is authority to operate on a government network. So, what they really want to implement is secure by design software and AI driven provisional ATOs in days versus the years that it would normally take. And they've launched the Software Fast Track Initiative. Let's see. Software Fast Track Initiative. Acting CIO signed a memo called Accelerating Secure Software, which basically talks about the things we just mentioned. So even this part of the document we've already seen real world impacts from just this one sentence alone. The next way that the White House plans to accelerate AI innovation is by empowering American workers in the age of AI. And I think this is going to be big. Let's dive in and see how they're going to do it. Okay. So this is interesting. It says empowering American workers. What they've done so far is created programs that we've talked about in previous videos to help children, grades K through 12, start using AI in education. This is interesting for a few reasons. The first is that they are actually doing what they've said, and you can see where this guidance has already been manifested into real change in the education system, which is normally slow to adopt new technologies. The other thing is that we haven't seen an initiative specifically for helping American employees upskill. And the really cool thing is that's what I actually wrote my proposal on for the White House Fellows. So I'd be really excited if I do go to the White House to take that with me and to bring it and to hopefully maybe help them actually run an upskilling program for American workers who are worried about losing their jobs, who are worried that they're about to be replaced. Give them the skills so that they're not only still valuable to the organization, but they become invaluable by performing superhuman tasks with AI tools. Yep. And this is it. So let's go ahead and just save that. 6. White House Fellowship, I'll say. Page 6, and this is like a 30-page document. This is going to take a while. So let's see what policy actions they want to implement to help American workers. Okay, that's an interesting phrase. Prioritize AI skill development as a core objective of relevant education and workforce funding streams. So they want to prioritize AI upskilling in their educational and workforce supplementation and budget. Um, okay, so this will be a big funding thing. So they also want to readjust the tax code to make AI upskill trainings tax free or reimbursable to help incentivize the public sector to upskill their employees. One thing I love is that they're actually having a few agencies monitor this program and make sure that we aren't just losing American jobs, but that Americans are being protected, they're being upskilled, uh, and that the economy isn't moving too far ahead of them. They want to create an AI research hub that evaluates the impact of AI on job markets. and actually creates potential AI impact levels to shape future policy based on how AI is impacting the workforce. That's cool. Continuous monitoring. Here we go. Okay. The Department of Labor is going to reallocate discretionary funding to upskill AI related job displacement to offset that. That's funny. That's literally the exact verbiage that I used in my White House fellows. It's not like nobody could come up with that, right? I'm gonna flex that for sure. Let's just add that. That's something I never thought about. They also want to clarify how a state's rapid response funding can be used to proactively upskill workers at risk of future displacement. So if a state says, hey, we're about to lose a lot of workers and we don't know what to do, they can actually provide rapid response funding for the sake of upskilling. So they also want to create pilot programs designed to address specific AI related workforce challenges. Right? Like that address things like retraining and displacement. And this is with the intent of creating strategies to help workers keep up with rapid innovation. So that basically they don't get left behind. What I love about this section is it shows they're really covering the entirety of AI adoption. And throughout every phase, they're protecting the Americans that are the most vulnerable in this environment. They're focusing on adopting technologies, but as those come in, they want to not only proactively train Americans to use it, but also help them upskill and reskill into new jobs that are created. That way, people don't get left behind. I'm really excited to see how this plays out. How long is this pillar? 13 pages. So we're halfway there. So tomorrow we'll go through next generation manufacturing. Oh, and one thing I forgot to say on this. We've already seen, they mentioned it here, advancing artificial intelligence and preparing Americans for high paid skilled trade jobs of the future. The White House has already released these things. So the White House, in response to this, has already released an AI educational track, the Presidential AI Challenge, and a pledge to America's youth. And the Presidential AI Challenge is live right now. And you can get more information here. I'll actually have a short that breaks down all of this. But this is a competition going on right now for students K through 12 and educators on how they can implement AI and how they can get exposed to AI in within the educational system. So if that's interesting, stay tuned. All right, I think that's it from me today. So thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.